Thank you, guys. This talk will be about hacking for humanity. It's a different talk. I mean, I usually talk about how I break things, and I felt kind of bad about it, so now I'm trying to do something different instead, doing something good.
Building by breaking.
Building by breaking. So I'm David. I'm a senior security researcher and security evangelist at Kaspersky. Been working in the industry for about 18 years.
And my name is Frans Rosen. I do a lot of bug bounties, as you might, some of you might know. And I work as a security advisor at a Swedish startup doing web monitoring called Detectify.
Cool. So the security, what the fuck, guys? How much money does the security industry have? Billions.
Billions.
A lot of money. And we were talking over a beer one summer, and we said, what about if you take all the Fortune 500 companies in the world, and you take 1% or even 0.5% of their yearly revenue, and you do something with that? Whatever that might be. Donate it to charity, give it to some startups, arrange a security conference, I don't know, do something with that money. That would be shitloads of money, right? So we talked about a small experiment.
Yeah, so we thought that I'm doing a lot of bug bounties, and I talk about it with David, and I'm like, I think we can do something with this. So let's spend a weekend. Let's go to David's house and just spend the weekend there, sitting, hacking stuff, and all the money we get from bug bounties, we're gonna donate them. Awesome, right? Super easy, we're just gonna do it. Awesome. And we're gonna get the money same day, and we just donate it, and when the weekend is done, everything is awesome. Not really what happened.
No, that didn't really turn out as planned.
So we had a plan, and the plan was to get 100,000 Swedish kroner, which is basically like $11,000. And the idea was to spend that weekend and just get all that money. Turned out to be not really how it's supposed to end. It ended up with waiting for 4 weeks, getting a response, getting a bunch of dupes. We ended up with like $2,000 though, but that was it. And we tried to get the companies to actually match it, because we were telling them that we're gonna donate this money, so can you do something? Some of the companies doing bug bounties today are matching the donation. So that would turn up to be $4,000. But they weren't mature enough for doing that. It's just like a few companies still doing that thing.
Well, another problem was as well, we were finding tons of vulnerabilities, and we thought, this is perfect. But as you said, it's all about timing as well when you do bug bounties, because we thought we found something really cool, we submitted it, a few days later we said, this is a dupe, this is duplicate. I was like, oh, fuck's sake, Yeah. Back to hacking, another duplicate.
And the challenge wasn't there. Like, you want to get the impact directly from the persons on the other side. So we didn't get the, like, oh, here it is, awesome, guys. It was like 3 weeks after I called David, like, yeah, they approved. And we got $100.
So we needed another plan.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, we need 100,000 Swedish kronor. This is $11,000. How can we do that? And we thought, why don't we try to invent a kind of a mutation of the entire bug bounty system?
Yeah.
Because everything was just taking way too long, and we didn't get the money that we wanted. It was like, okay, what if we just call companies and ask them?
And the thing was, we were actually like doing a bunch of popular bug bounty programs. Like, there's a bunch of people there, and there's a bunch of big challenges actually finding stuff that nobody else has found. And we thought, let's work at a market that doesn't do any bug bounties. And since we're from Sweden, we know that nobody in Sweden, like every time I go and talk about bug bounties in Sweden, I'm like, how many of you guys know about it? And you get 2 people, and that's my friends. So it doesn't really, nobody knows about it yet. And we know that that's gonna change, but we thought, like, let's approach these guys instead. Let's make a mutation of the bug bounty idea, but approach companies that don't have a clue about it. They don't even have a security budget, even.
No, I mean, that was actually quite cool. You would actually contact companies that would never, ever participate in the bug bounty program. They would never. Because one problem, they would say, we don't have the budget. We don't have the budget to be in a bug bounty program. But what happened when I called all these companies was that I didn't talk to the IT guys or the IT director. Do you know who I was talking to? marketing. They sent me to marketing. I was like, I don't want to talk to you. You have no idea what I'm talking about. I want to talk to the IT director. But it turns out that marketing also has money. I love money.
And also, talking about charity, turns out that those guys want to be involved in it. And suddenly, it turns out into something else. Like, suddenly you don't take money from the security budget. Suddenly you take money from the marketing budget. And then people that doesn't really know about bug bounty realize that, okay, we can actually make the IT security guys happy in our team, even though we're the marketing team. That doesn't really happen like Carbon. It's most the reverse. The marketing team makes the IT security guys hate them. That's basically how it works.
So we found out that you could actually turn that around. You could actually build computer security with marketing money. And that's a pretty cool idea. I don't know if that's ever been done before, where you actually build computer security with marketing money. And we talked about, okay, bug bounties, it's cool, but there's other ways to do bug bounties, you know?
There's mutations of it in other ways. We see, like, there's one of the largest pharmacy companies today. They have an internal bug bounty. So internally, they have actually people in the company that can actually report security issues to the company internally and get like a, I don't know, salary increase that month or something. But there's still a bunch of companies that tries to do that. Is there any here that has an internal bug bounty in their company? Yeah, that's you.
Yeah.
Katie, yeah.
Okay. You're disqualified. So,
one other guy, okay. I know about, yeah.
But it's kind of interesting because another thing that we found out is the companies who do internal bug bounty systems actually find a lot of critical vulnerabilities, more critical vulnerabilities than people who don't do internal bug bounties. Because the people who know how the products work, how the network is set up, how all that is built, that's the employees. So it's much easier for them to find the vulnerabilities.
Stop working.
Stop working? Do you hear me anyway?
Yeah.
So that's the people who know how the system works, how the product works, how the internal organisms of the application works. So it's much easier for them to find the vulnerabilities. It's much easier for them to verify that the vulnerability that they found was actually valid or not valid.
What David is saying is that Kaspersky should do this.
Yes.
That's basically what he's saying. Not trying to like, yeah, that is true.
Or Detectify.
Yeah. Yeah, so another example of like our idea about like doing this bug bounty thing, we thought about like, is there anything bad with what we're actually doing in terms of this? And in regards to the companies that we worked with, it wasn't really like, they weren't even remotely prepared to doing a bug bounty. So telling them that we're gonna get out there and we're gonna blog about everything we found from your companies, that wasn't a part of the deal, basically. And we thought about that, and during our time when we were actually doing this experiment, one thing happened that was pretty weird. So I did a blog post like 2 years ago about a certain issue in terms of using cloud providers. And suddenly there's a news article about Trump getting hacked. And and we're like starting looking at it. Okay. Bye-bye. We started looking at it, and what happened was that we saw that this vulnerability that they used was actually the blog post that I posted about 2 years ago, because stuff hasn't get fixed. And suddenly Brian Krebs actually tweets that, yeah, that was the thing. Because he talked with the Iraqi hacker, and he said that he actually used our blog post to hack Donald Trump, which was kind of weird. And because what happened was I actually contacted like info@Donald Trump, like, hi man, sup, sorry. But yeah, that's another story. But this actually happened during this time of our experiment. And we were like, okay, so we need to like shut this down. We need to make it silent. But we still need to make the experiment. Like, the idea is not to bash these companies about the vulnerabilities. It's basically just to try and see if we can use the money for something else than they were expected to be used for, and also to do something good for it.
I mean, it's also one other interesting point is, I mean, how many of you guys do pen testing? Katie, this is not, some people do pen test. When you do a pen test, how often do you find like the low-hanging fruit? Weak passwords and unpatched machines and bad network segmentation, all this total bullshit that you're actually wasting your your skill set on finding all this low-hanging fruit? What if you could just pay your employees money for actually finding and fixing all these low-hanging fruit? So the time that you actually need to use a consultant, you will find the stuff that really matters. You won't find all this low-hanging fruit, because that stuff is just noise. And I know that Ryan will speak about that in his presentation. I don't know if it's after mine or when it is, but check out Ryan's presentation. There's a lot of noise when it comes to vulnerability disclosure and that stuff. So raising the money for charity. And we thought, charity, what's charity? Starving kids in Africa? Or is it raising money to give tickets to students to go to security conference? What is charity? And also, another thing that we talked about was, sometimes it feels kind of weird when you donate money to something that's happening across the world. You don't really feel that you're participating in that. So we thought, if we could get other security researchers to do the same thing as we did and raise money for whatever that's happening in their little town where they live, maybe there's a kindergarten that needs some more money, maybe there's some schools or some universities that needs good security experts that can go there and give a presentation. And it's not just about bug bounties. I mean, you can raise money for charity, for something good, by just using the skill set that you have. You can train, you can do presentations, you can do whatever, just use your creativity. But raising the money, after 4 hours of calling a few Swedish companies, we actually had $15,000 of spending 4 hours on the phone. I think that's pretty impressive.
And it's just a couple of days actually spending the time with them and finding these issues. And also, these companies have never spent anything on security. So the work there are like everything you actually can help them with is so important. Like it doesn't really matter. The level of issues is like, it like ranges from the things you saw in the 90s up to today. Like there's so many issues with these companies because they haven't spent anything on it. So everything that we can do can actually help them further. So it's and I mean, you called me every time during this day, and like, because we're like, yeah, try and call and see what happens. And suddenly David, they're on, they want $2,000, and he called again, like, yeah, what is it? Like, they're also on. Like everybody I'm calling just wants to do this. So that was amazing, and we know it's like this is not even an effort for us. Like, yes, you can spend a week with like a holiday doing this stuff, but actually like getting those companies to actually approve of this was so easy. Like there's no work needed basically.
I mean, one of the partners or supporters to this project is a Swedish ISP called Bahnhof. They actually told me on the phone, like, we want to do this, but we want to do it on a monthly basis. It's like, wow. That's pretty cool, but sorry guys, I have a job. I don't work for free. This is a project, and it was a challenge for me in France, but it just, proof that people want this. And referring back to the first slide about what the fuck the IT security industry, what's happening? We have so much money in this industry. Think about it. How much do you think this conference cost? I don't even want to think about it.
But still, you do.
Yeah, right? I do. We have so much money, and we actually do so little. When was the last time you guys did something good? That's a fucking serious question.
You're making everybody feel bad.
Yeah, that's a fucking serious question. That is a serious question. When was the last time you did anything good? When was the last time you complained about your salary? Exactly. Fuck off. If we can do it, what's next? What was the next thing? You can do it. The thing is that during this project, we decided to never touch the money. We also decided not to choose which charity the money would go to. We were only performing the job, the pen test or the audit. We were finding the bugs. It was the people who decided to donate the money or support our project, they were the people who were choosing which charity. We would have charities that support children, that support animals, that support security conferences. There was one company that said, I want to have like a small, I don't know the English word for it, a fund.
Yeah, fun.
Fund? I'll say it in Swedish anyway, fund, where students could ask for money to go to security conferences. I think that's a brilliant idea. You know, I earn way too much money anyway. You know, should I get $200 for a bug bounty? What should I do with that money? I'm just being 100% honest. What should I do with that money? I could rather donate that to something good. Buy a BBS. You know, and I don't know how to say this, but I really need your help to do this in your local region. You know, I'm pretty sure that you can find some holes to put all that money. And it's very, very simple. I just want you guys to try. Try calling a few companies, try participating in bug bounties. I learned shitloads of stuff. I learned from Franz about some server-side include something. See, I don't even remember what I learned. But it was fun, you know?
Yeah.
I never worked with Franz before, and we decided to do this. We got, you know, better contact. We actually created a small team. So now we're a team of 5 people in Sweden who does this. And we're having shitloads of fun. And we can raise money. And you guys suck for you didn't do it. Sorry.
So we're gonna go around with this bag of. Yeah, awesome.
That's it. Guys.
Yeah, thank you guys.
We raised the money. We raised more money than we thought, and it's going to charity. You know. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.